World of Tank Blitzers, it's Littlefinger. Today doing a full tank review on the KV-3. This is a Tier 7 Soviet heavy tank, and this is following closely on the heels of my review of the IS, the smaller, more nimble brother of this KV-3. Let me just go on over to the tech tree here so you can see these two tanks together. KV-3 is going to take you to KV-4, ST1, and IS-4. IS-4, my favorite tier 10 heavy tank from the tech tree, that is. ST1 is a wonderful hold down tank, a little bit on the slow side. KV-4 is extremely slow. I know it did just get a buff to the mobility, but for when I was playing it, it was a very difficult grind just because of its lack of ability to get into or out of trouble. You're going to get COD'd in this tank, and it's just a very difficult grind in this tank. But all lines have a bad tank, and KV-4, while it's not a bad tank per se, it's just difficult to play in the meta of the game right now. Now to the KV-3 here, you can see I actually run it with the 100mm gun because the tank has got a little bit more armor, and I feel that I can be successful out in the open a little bit more than I could in the IS. What I want you to point out, this gun that I run here is obviously a couple upgrades. If you do go and get the IS first, here is this gun here. So if you go for the IS first, which is my recommendation, you're going to unlock this gun, making it a little bit easier when you transition. All you should need is to free EXP the top turret here. Alright, so back to the tank. Obviously it's in the KV-1 mold. It's got a very tough turret to pen. My consumables are repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Provisions, running condensed milk, improved fuel, and extra combat rations. 29, 11, and 7, making sure we buy our premium ammo here with silver and not gold. Equipment. Alright, so we are running calibrated shells. So part of the reason I run this 100mm gun is because it has better pen than the 122, and I want to get this number up over 240, 245 because of the tier 8 heavy tanks that I'm going to be facing, and I don't have the mobility to get around their sides or weak spots as easily in this tank. Running the defense system, improved optics. Tier 2 here, we're running enhanced gun lane drive, enhanced armor. This one's probably a toss-up, 96 extra hit points. I'm just going with the 4% extra armor. We've got engine accelerator, refined gun. You're not going to be really moving much, shooting on the move in this tank, so refined gun there, and then the toolbox. Alright guys, here's Blitz Stars. We've got the KV-3 here with the left with the 100mm gun, and next to it is the 122, just so you can see comparison wise. And the reason I like the 100mm gun, for these reasons. Look, we've got almost 300 damage per minute. We have the same pen on our standard round, but when we go up to the APCR, look at this, we get 235 versus 217. So the 122, where it fails is its ability to pen some of the tier 8 heavy tanks. You can get away with that in a faster tank because you're more able to get into positions to pen weak spots on tanks. But with the KV-3, because of its sluggishness, it's not quite as easy. So because we have the extra armor here, I do like it because I feel like I can be on out in the open a little bit more, bounce a few more shots, and just take more shots with this faster reloading, lower, smaller size gun. But we look at it in compare to some of the other heavy tanks out there as far as our damage per minute number. Obviously the Tiger 1 is the king of the battlefield at the moment, and but we are ahead of like the AMX and the T29. Where we do suffer, like I said, is with some of these pen numbers, so just keep that in mind. Weapon handling, you can see it fits right in here with the Tiger, very similar. We do have 0.38 dispersion. 7 degrees of gun depression. So again, just normal straight up stats, nothing great, nothing horrible. 32 kilometers per hour as our top speed, power to weight ratio of only 13. So you're talking T29 kind of sluggishness and feel. 23 degrees per second is our traverse speed. Look at this. It's the slowest one out there. And that's what I'm saying. The tank is not as mobile, nowhere near as mobile as the IS or even the T29 for that matter. Credit coefficient, 112%. Let's look at the armor here. 165 on the front for both the hull and the turret. And we've got 115 on the sides of the turret. So again, you've got some really nice armor, especially if you're hull down, hiding that lower part of the tank, just exposing the turret. Alright, so just real quick, here is armor inspector. Not a whole lot to tell you. We've got the shooter here as a medium tier 7 tank, and as you can see, that lower plate is going to definitely be your trouble spot at just over 108 millimeters of effective armor. 183 here on the flat plate of the hull. The sloped is going to be much more. And then quite nice armor all the way around the hull, except for just a little bit of a weak spot there on the hatch. The problem is that once you start rotating this tank, you can see that it does become green from several different sides, and it's really hard. And you've got to keep this in mind when you're playing the game. This lower plate is pretty much penetrable just about all the time. Alright guys, so first game here on New Bay. It's an encounter battle and we are bottom tier. My preference obviously for this type of map would be to go into the city a little bit more. The bridges and hills are going to give me not hills, but the elevation changes on the bridges is going to be a little bit difficult trying to protect all the sides of the tank. Whereas if we go into the park, we know that we can keep basically everybody in front of us. And there's also some, even some hold down spots here in the park. So depending upon how far in we can get. So I'm just going to push on in the heavy side and see how it goes here. So right off the bat, you can see we've reached top speed at 32 kilometers per hour. And that's it. And just keep in mind, it does not have the turning traverse speeds as most of the other heavies, so it's going to be a little bit slower in that regard, but it's really not that bad. Now I'm going to push up right into this spot here, because you can see there's some steps right in front of me that if anybody is shooting down the road there, that's what they're going to see, the steps. They're not going to see me. They might see a little bit of my turret, but that is it. So this allows us now to have kept that IS-3 kind of at bay and not allowed him to push too far. We do take one shot from him. We've got a Type 62, who I know if I can get in the side, I can put a nice HE shot in. And this is a nice thing about the 100mm gun, is you do have the accuracy, especially close up like that. That was a little bit of a mistake on my part. I should have switched back to AP on the T-34 as the TD as he crossed in front of my vision there, and not sure how we bounced that. Might have been another good opportunity for HE, but we're going to reload and finish off the Type 62 nonetheless. And as you can see, the team's done very well. It's 7-on-4 now, so this was a good spot for us. And after this shot, so we do get a bounce because he hit the upper plate there. So that's a tier 8 heavy bouncing us. It's also an IS-3D, so take that or leave it. It's not the greatest tier 8 premium heavy, let's just face it. So we bounced 2 off of him. We've bounced 1,000 already. Not sure where that shot went, to be honest with you guys, but look at the mobility here. It's not horrible for a heavy tank, right? And I'm just trying to do this to get around the backside of the IS-3, but a better target presents itself in the RHM, so we can shoot HE into him. This guy, I don't know, he's just been driving around like mad, and you know, you can't run into a KV-3 like that. So this is the reason you do want to run a few, maybe even carry a few more HE shells there. There are some soft, juicy targets available for you at tier 7 and 8. But the beautiful thing about this gun versus the 122 is the dispersion and the aim time. It's just a much more accurate gun. You're not going to miss as many shots, and that's the downside to having a longer reloading, higher alpha gun, is that if you miss, it's just a huge penalty, which is why I prefer this this gun over the 122. Alright, so second game here is on Mirage. This isn't a map that we see too often at tier 8 and above. So being top tier here allows us to get the Mirage map, which is quite nice, actually. I do like this map. This game is going to be more about map awareness than anything else, quite honestly. We're going to push towards the hill here. Obviously, there's some good spots to get hull down, so to speak, around these rocks. Even if you go up the hill, you can peek over them and then hide your tank after you've shot. So we get a spot early. Obviously, the teams, you know, they push into those falls every single time. But we can just do a little peek-a-boom here. And like I said, we take our shot, semi-hull down, take our shot, and then we back down to cover while we reload. He is shooting on the move, and that's not going to work. And because he did shot, we are able to wait a little bit longer, let our aim dial in, and make sure that we don't miss the shot. As I say that, you know, I thought that one looked pretty good, so we do miss out there. And I see this T-29 just YOLOing in, and it really changes my decision making for the game. I knew I was going to be able to take the distracted VK out. And then I'm rolling in here to try and help out the T-29. And so what I want to do, and this is kind of the map awareness part, is put myself in between those tanks and that building, right? And if I can do that, then they're going to focus on the T-29 and not me. And you can see there's two tanks over there. And so I'm just going to face them for now while we finish off the Tiger. Had I pushed into the Tiger, I think they probably would have gotten a few more shots into me. We can repair the tracks and, you know, again, just focus on now these tanks that have gotten distracted by the rest of my team. We are down a tank, down 2 tanks, but now we're going to catch up here in a second. And we'll take a trade for a kill for 200 damage. So I wasn't sure which way I would go here. Comet, I thought maybe might have had a shot on me, but he's distracted again. 2 tanks left. We've taken this to a tank advantage now. No, we can't pen with HE on the Comet. So this really, we're now into cleanup time. Just get out of my way, dude, and let me get the kill. So we got 4 kills, 2,500 damage, and 1 more tank to go. So, you know, it's a good tank in the right situations. And I don't know how this one bounces. Okay, that should have been a kill shot right there. And now he's tracked us, and we just can't catch up because we got no more repair kits. But as you can see, we managed to survive the game. We did block over 1,000 damage again, and doing what a heavy tank should do, right? Is be up front, take damage, and hopefully dish it back out in return. Alright guys, so here's the last game on Falls Creek, and as you can see, I am top tier. And I know what I wanted to focus on is the discussion about the gun. I know a lot of you are probably going to say, no, I should be running the 122. For a heavy tank, it needs to have the bigger gun. Well, I'm going to disagree with you. I prefer the 100mm because of its higher damage per minute. And I think this is a great example of a game in which it is needed. So I know I am top tier. I know that I can bounce some shots. Obviously, we've got supremacy, so I am driving straight into cap. And that shot must have hit our hatch because kills the loader, and this Lupus is just going to rush us. Now, if I had the longer reloading gun, I don't think that I survived this battle with the Lupus. Thankfully, my team has decided to fall off the cliff there and help me. But again, we're just trying to keep the frontal armor at the front of the Lupus. Now, the T-29 joins in, but it's a little bit late. So, again, the gun is constantly reloading, and I am constantly shooting. I don't know, the Gravedigger's not doing so well, I don't think. But I'm glad he's now become the main target, because that's going to allow me to stay alive and farm some damage in this game. Now, we've managed to cap C, and right now it's actually a pretty, looks to be a pretty lopsided game, and this does come down to being a close game in the end. But you can see my driver is dead, and we can't move too fast. I've already used a repair kit, so I've got about 10 more seconds to wait before I can repair the driver. Now, I'm expecting both of these guys just to keep pushing and get this T-20 out of the way, but the VK backs up, and I'm unable to pull forward and get my shot off. Now, the P-43 is on the rush. I'm aiming for the front wheel there. I want to track him. I know he's going for the Chi-Ri. I expected the Chi-Ri to back up. It's always good, guys, to know who's near you and who has guns that can help you. That Chi-Ri backs up. I've got at least one shot on him. I don't know if he survives that, but it allows me to get my shot off a little bit sooner. So now you can see it is 3-on-2. Alright, 3-on-1. We've got the E-25 coming in behind us, and it's going to give us trouble because obviously he is a much faster moving tank, but we get a max roll. And all I want to do is get down, one more shot and ram him. Oh, just left him a little bit too short, and he finishes us off. J-Panther takes him off, and I have no idea what our heavy was doing there. But you see how that gun was active the whole time. 3,661 damage. Yeah, what this IS was doing back here, I have no idea. But we had 1,171 EXP and received 11 shots, 3 of them doing no damage. And we got shots into quite a few tanks there. So that's why I prefer the 100mm gun, and why that's the way I recommend playing it. So with that, guys, I hope you learned a few things about the tank. I hope to make you play better, and of course we hope to see you out on the battlefield. And remember, have fun out there, stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.